And welcome back to our program. You know, the hot topic in these presidential debates seems to be student loans, how students pay off their loans. And most kids have to borrow money to get through college. I understand that. I borrowed my way through undergraduate as well as law school, took a number of years to pay it off. It was part of the investment in my future. Well, the student loan program is built up enormously to where right now you have debt that is approaching $1.2 trillion. It's the largest single pool of debt in the U.S. outside of the mortgage guarantees that go on. $1.2 trillion that the federal government is guaranteeing in loans. Now, look, that's fine. That's okay as long as the loans are paid back. But there is a huge percentage of these loans that are in arrears, don't get paid back at all, a very shaky, questionable way of collecting these loans. There's no real enforcement. There's all kinds of ways the government can enforce your loans in terms of your income taxes, not giving you a tax refund, your Social Security, all kinds of ways to do it. They just don't tend to do it. I see Hillary Clinton has come out now saying that one of the basic planks that she's going to push is the forgiveness of billions of dollars of loans because the debt is just too high for so many students to undertake. It can be. But that's where choices have to be made. When you go to college, we'd all like to go to the most expensive college in the country, an Ivy League school like a Harvard, Yale, or Dartmouth, where tuition may be as much as $50,000 a year. But you know what? Most of us can't do that. So you sit down with your parents, get the right parental guidance, and say, look, what can we afford? It may have to be your state college. It may have to be a community college for a year or two. And during that time, what burden does a student take on in terms of work? So many kids today borrow and borrow, don't even have jobs at all, go off to Europe for the summer and just use the federal government guaranteed loan program to finance all this. Most of you out there that are a little older, like me, worked your way through school. I had jobs at all levels. I was a basketball coach and a football coach at a small junior college or the high school program. I played my banjo at a place called Your Father's Mustache on Bourbon Street back in the 60s. Whatever it took to pay off my loans, I did. And I did it to get through school, number one. And then number two, after I was out of school, I paid back the loans over a number of years. I think I graduated in 1966 from law school. It was something like 1976, maybe 78, 10 to 12 years later before I paid off all the loans. And I see students decrying the fact, oh gosh, I owe $35,000 or $40,000, and I just don't think I want to impede my quality of life and cut down on things I want to do about me and not pay back the loan. Hey, a deal is a deal. You made a deal. And let me tell you about 35. I saw someone was complaining about $65,000, $75,000. That's a lot of money. I agree. My debt was $35,000 when I graduated from law school. I paid it off so much a month, so much a year, over 12 years. Now, $35,000 then equivocates to probably $75,000, $80,000, almost $100,000 today. I didn't shrink. I didn't equivocate. I got a good education and I paid it back. And so many of you out there did. Millions and millions of Americans did that. So when these presidential candidates, both Republicans and Democrats, are starting to come on so strong right now about we've got to forgive all these loans because it's not good for American citizens. I want them to get out and work more like you and I did. Great story. I was in a little restaurant here in my hometown of Baton Rouge called Newt's. It's a national chain, I believe. Young fella's waiting on us. He comes to bust the tables is what he does. We get talking. He says he's 17 years old, a junior in high school. He's been working since he's been 15. He busses in the restaurant, does it work day, rather school days, Monday through Friday. One of his folks drops him off at the restaurant. He says he's bought his own car. He pays his own car insurance. 16 now, going on 17, junior in high school, paid all that off. He's got a little savings account he's putting back so he can go to college. Really a neat little kid. And his reaction was just unbelievable. There's three of us there at the table. And so I said, well, are you doing anything for fun? I know you into the summertime. And he says, well, I'm working most of summer, Mr. Brown. But he said, I've got a buddy and I, we're going up to Arkansas. We're going to hike the mountains there for 2 days and come right back to get to work. And so we thought that was really a great story. Good kid, good parental guidance, working to save his money. So I pulled out, I think, $30, and so did my other several friends. We got together almost $100 for him, and we gave it to him. And at first he thought it was a tip. So this is not a tip. It's got nothing to do with the restaurant. We just want to make this little donation to you to help you on your trip, pay for the gas money up there. And he was stunned. He looked at us stunned. Then he starts crying. Then he comes up and gives us all a big hug. He was so appreciative. Now, this little kid, this got his focus in play. He wants to get through college. He is paying his own way. He'll probably borrow some money to invest in his education, and I'm sure he'll pay it back. So, yes, the government should carry on a loan program, tying in with the private sector, putting guarantees there. Some will default, but most ought to be paid back. And to have these presidential candidates, Republicans, Democrats alike, ballyhooing the fact that they're going to forgive all these loans, I think is irresponsible, not the way to do business. We deserve better than that. In America, we need to make our own way a lot more. I'll be right back.